The Shawnee called him wapiti, a deer that weighed up to 1,100 pounds with as much as a 5-foot span of antlers. Early explorers misnamed him an elk because he resembled the European elk, not really a close relative. Scientists eventually agreed with the Shawnee on the name, but in the West we still call him an elk and we say it with respect. Elk do thrive, though because they like to winter at lower elevations, they find their habitat shrinking. So the Game and Fish team in New Mexico conducts regular studies of elk habits and movements to ensure a vigorous population.
In 1938 and 39, 14 elk were transplanted on the Tusas Mountains west of Piedras. From that herd, today it's estimated at 1,500 to 3,000 head of animals. That's a lot of elk to feed.
To determine the optimum use of the land, this 3-year study will begin with the radio collaring of a representative number of elk.
We need to know more about this elk herd that's around here. You know, how big the herd is, where do they go. The Forest Service and the BLM, we manage the habitat on the ground. We manage the land. The Department of Game and Fish manages the elk herd. We have to work together to manage this elk herd. This is one of the largest elk herds in the state.
In an ideal world, we'd put a collar on every elk and we'd know where everyone went. That's never going to happen with 1,500 elk.
The basic theory behind the net is the head goes through one of the meshes, then the legs become entangled in some of the other openings. It prevents the animal from running any further and allows the muggers to get out on it before it escapes.
Copy, that's a cow.
We have to take their temperature, and then we put an air tag in. We put the radio transmitter collar on. We'll take the respirations and pulse, check their teeth, see how old they are.
The capture is a joint effort between New Mexico Game and Fish, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the U.S. Forest Service, and others.
Would that be a likely first bet to go to if we're going to the west?
This is where they were capturing yesterday, wasn't it?
Right there, yeah, I was talking about this area here.
That's a 3 we just did. There's a fecal sample in one. Okay. There's the blood sample that goes with it, and she was kicking and snorting, and I was just barely starting to get blood, and I finally said, let her go.
It's gone real well. I mean, things are staying on track. We just hope weather cooperates.
Apparently, he said he's got, what, 25 or 30 elk, just not too far from here.
Let's get 2 muggers, let's go.
At 10,000 feet, the air is so thin, the helicopter's maneuverability and efficiency are dramatically reduced, and pilots, net gunners, and muggers are forced to work in the open cockpit in sub-freezing temperatures.
So as soon as we can get them down on the ground and their head stabilized, we'll cover their eyes up with our hand until we can get a blindfold out, cover up their face. That kind of calms them down when they can't see, plus they can't see you to aim at your head and kick you.
You've got a 150 or 160 pound man against an 800 or 900 pound animal. It's a pretty tough job. It's a rare opportunity to be able to handle wildlife out here in the hills, and it's very, very enjoyable.
Well, one thing that we will be able to do is coordinate our hunting strategies. Is the most direct effect that we can have on this elk. When he gets over here, we're going to need to let him know how many bulls we're looking for.
There's 6 collars out. They need one more bull and 5 more cows, and we're done.
They get hard to get out of the trees. We may move back over north of the mountain.
After 4 days, the elk capture is nearly complete.
It's not a job that you're going to do to get rich. It's something that you get into because you love working with the wildlife, and you very, very quickly learn that working with the wildlife is the luxury part. The rewards, it's not a job that you're going to be doing in order to satisfy somebody else. That's what basically keeps all of us going, is the possibility that we can make a difference. At this point in my life, I don't see any other job that I want to be doing.
Elk are among those animals who are not endangered but do face conditions that could eventually affect their survival. And it takes planning in the present to protect their future. If you'd like more information about elk populations, contact our website.